All right, I would be remiss if I didn't make a quick video. I did the same for Burt Young, if you can believe it was just not even 6 months ago. I did it for Burt Young when he passed, and I'd be remiss if I didn't do this for Mr. Carl Weathers for his passing. So I woke up this morning. I don't know if any of you know this. I have five listeners who listen to my podcast. So this is for you five listeners who listen to my show who might want to know my thoughts and feelings on the passing of Carl Weathers. So I woke up this morning at 5 a.m. local time here in Qatar, in the Middle East. Of course, everyone was awake when the news broke about Carl's passing, but I was asleep on this side of the world. So I woke up to like Facebook messages from friends and family, Twitter messages, Instagram messages, and all that, and from all the socials at me, of course, and rightfully so, because I do this silly podcast about Rocky and about Carl's passing. And this is another one of those celebrities, of course, that's been a part of my this is of course just regarding entertainment part of our life, but someone who was a major part of a franchise that was a major and is a major part of my life. Enough so that I run a silly podcast dedicated to the Rocky franchise. But what Carl in his character in Apollo did for me was that it showed you that, and of course, this is the genius writing of Sly. It showed you that you could have an antagonist, you could have an opponent that you didn't have to hate. It was such an ingenious creative idea, and then that portrayal of Apollo. Nobody ever watched Apollo, even when he went full kind of like, I got to get him in the ring mode in part two. Because even when he lost the fight at the end of part two, he gives Rocky that congratulatory hug and pat on the head, saying, you're now the champ type motion. Apollo was fair. He was tough. He was tough when he trained Rocky. And these are all good qualities. All the qualities that Apollo had were wonderful qualities. And he was flawed. He was a flawed human. And let's just forget the stupid retcon writing that they did for the Creed films regarding the Apollo character. It's kind of, as far as I'm concerned, that didn't really happen, but whatever. That being said, he's a wonderful character actor. Of course, he was hilarious in Billy Madison. He was fantastic in the Mandalorian series. In Predator, he was amazing. Wearing that army vest jacket with his torso and his pecs showing. I mean, he was Action Jackson. These are all great, fun films. And it's sad that he passed away. He was 76. It's that really weird age where you're not young at all in your 70s. I don't think anyone can say you're young in your 70s. I mean, some people are healthier than others, and he was certainly one of the more healthy 70-plus-year-olds. But you're also not, you're not deathly old, but you're not really young. It's a tricky decade, right? People kind of leave the earth around that decade, and we're getting to that age in my life, anyways, personally, where people that I grew up with, if I was watching you as a kid in the 80s, you're hitting your 80s yourself now as an adult, and we're going to see this more and more. So this is another passing where we know it's coming to these actors or any celebrity or artist that we enjoy as a kid. It's going to have to come to them when they get older. And it's a sober reminder and a somber reminder of life. And it's a fleeting thing. I put it on my Twitter that it was time that defeated Carl Weathers. And that's well come to all of us. He died peacefully in his sleep. That was what the statement was from his family. That's how I want to go, dying peacefully in your sleep. And that's how Carl left the world. And he left a big mark. And one quick anecdote here. I on Twitter, this was about 4 or 5 years ago, I tagged Carl on a tweet, and it was a joke that I made up, and he retweeted it. He LOL'd my tweet. It's a stupid joke, but I'll end with this. And it was my only interaction with him. I didn't get a photo, never met him. It was a social media interaction, but I loved it all the same. I said, this was the joke. I said, why doesn't Apollo Creed have a calendar? Because there is no tomorrow. All right, rest in peace, Carl. You're awesome. You're wonderful. The character that you portrayed was Apollo Creed, and I think that touched millions upon millions of people's lives. And you'll be missed, brother. Truly.